All right, well, let's go ahead and call the meeting of the Warren County Commissioners April 14th to order. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This is a public meeting, meaning that it's recorded. Anything that's said in this meeting will become part of public record. Since the last time the Board of Commissioners met, we have not had an executive session. There have been times we were in the same room together, but those were all publicly advertised meetings, such as COG meeting. Any correspondence to bring before the public? Nope. Very good. Any public comment at this time? So anything that's either on the agenda or that you want to raise with the commissioners that does not have to do necessarily with the agenda could be brought before the board now. Seeing nothing. On the agenda today we have a modification to the A&F Patrol Agreement, resolution for CDBG, TAWC Resolution. Should move this citation probably to the consent agenda. Agreement with Avenu Enterprises, AMC Contracting Agreement, Laserfish Agreements, and Youth Baseball Softball Association Agreement, as well as CYS Contracted Providers. If the Register and Recorder is able to come up, we'll be moving that to the beginning of the agenda in order to facilitate their work hours. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that we said that we would talk about today that I forgot? All right.
So you can take action.
Our last meeting was on March 24th. You had a chance to review the minutes. Were there any corrections? Hearing none. Finance report. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. On Wednesday, April 13th, we have $1,244,760.69 in our savings account, $1,261,263.75 in our general fund key bank account.
Haven't drawn on the tax anticipation note, and it doesn't look like we'll need to in the very near future anyway.
Correct.
Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to the HR report.
This is as of April 1st, 2021. New hires for Warren County, Francis Wawaru, effective March 3rd, 2021. He's the new assistant public defender in the public defender's office. Annual salary of $50,300 for a total of $78,189.15. Tracy Swartz was hired at 911 as a full-time telecommunicator.
The annual rate, $35,318.40 for a total compensation package of $61,472.19. Alicia Strait, effective 3/10/2021 in public safety. She's a 911 telecommunicator at $16.98 per hour. Annual rate is $35,318.40 for a total compensation package of $61,472.19. Taylor Brunez, effective 3/15/21, adult probation. He's a pretrial officer. The annual rate is $34,840 for a total compensation package of $60,938.06. Michael Furman, effective 3/15/21, public safety. He's a 911 telecommunicator for an annual rate of $35,318.40 for a total compensation package of $61,472.19. Benjamin Williams, effective 3/29/21, Sheriff Department, is a sheriff's deputy for an annual rate of $35,817.60 for a total compensation package of $62,029.55. the changes for Warren County, Thomas Hickey, effective 2/26/21. In the district attorney's office, he went from sheriff's deputy to full-time county chief detective. Annual rate is $50,000 for a total compensation package of $77,864.20. Jeffrey Carlson, effective 3/24/21. In the jail, he went from part-time to full-time corrections officer for an annual rate of $29,972.80 for a total compensation package of $55,503.83. Separations, Kenneth Hinton, effective 2/5/21. He was in the jail. He was a part-time corrections officer. And Savannah Trisket, effective 3/30/21. In the jail. She was a full-time corrections officer.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Thank you. We have two proclamations on the agenda today. Excuse me. Quick announcement, the departmental reports are before you as well. If there's anything that the commissioners wanted to raise for the public. Personally, I'm very pleased with how these are coming along. Good information. Are any of the departments here, the elections, did you want to raise anything in your report particularly?
No.
Okay.
We're just maybe getting the ballot forward, just a few mail outs. We get these together.
Cut this down a little bit. Okay. Two proclamations on the agenda. First is Earth Day, read by Jeff, and National Crime Victims Week, read by Tricia.
Whereas the first Earth Day was enacted in 1970 and engaged over 20 million Americans to advocate for a cleaner environment, and Earth Day now has become a worldwide event and has highlighted some of the most critical environmental issues on the world stage. Pennsylvania's Department of Environmental Protection, Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Department of Agriculture, Department of Transportation, Fish and Boat Commission, and Game Commission have an enormous responsibility to the citizens of the Commonwealth and work year-round to ensure Pennsylvania's water, air, and land are protected. And Pennsylvania is blessed with a wealth of bountiful woodlands and waterways, often most visibly showcased in our 121 state parks and more than 2.2 million acres of state forests and other public lands that enrich the lives of both residents and visitors alike, providing irreplaceable habitat for countless flora and fauna, sustainable natural resources, and many scenic recreational opportunities. Pennsylvania's Commonwealth agencies challenge every resident of the Commonwealth to help in conserving and protecting the environment by green activities such as recycling, water and energy conservation, tree planting, and active education about environmental issues. And Pennsylvania supports projects that demonstrate and encourage energy conservation, sustainability, and the usage of renewable energy. And special Earth Day events are offered throughout the Commonwealth to encourage residents to identify what they can personally do to protect the environment and make Pennsylvania a cleaner and greener state. Therefore, in special recognition of the efforts and dedication of the Commonwealth state agencies, as well as our local agencies and volunteers, we, the Board of Warren County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2021 as Earth Day. We encourage all citizens to become engaged in their local communities and join efforts to help maintain and improve Pennsylvania's urban and rural environments.
Any comment? Very good.
I love the earth. It's nice.
National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Whereas in 1982, the President's Task Force on Victims of Crime envisioned a national commitment to a more equitable and supportive response to victims. And this commemorative week celebrates the energy, perseverance, and commitment that launched the victims' rights movement, inspired its progress, and continues to advance the cause of justice for crime victims. Crime can leave a lasting impact on any person, regardless of age, national origin, race, creed, religion, gender, sexual orientation, immigration, or economic status, and incorporating communities' existing experts and trusted sources of support in efforts to fully serve survivors will help develop a criminal justice system response that is truly accessible and appropriate for all victims of crime. And with the unwavering support of their communities and the resources available, survivors will be empowered to face their grief, loss, fear, anger, and hope without fear of judgment, and will feel understood, heard, and respected. And serving victims and rebuilding their trust restores hope to victims and survivors, as well as supports thriving communities. And honoring the rights of victims, including the rights to be heard, to be treated with fairness, dignity, and respect, and working to meet the needs rebuilds their trust in the criminal justice and social service systems. In National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides us an opportunity to recommit to ensuring that all victims of crime, especially those who are challenging to reach or serve, are afforded their rights and receive a trauma-informed response. And the Crime Victims Program of a Safe Place is hereby dedicated to strengthening victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and our victim responders, and working for justice for all victims and survivors. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the Commissioners of Warren County, join the Crime Victims Program and the communities across the nation recognizing the week of April 8th through 24th as National Crime Victim Rights Week.
Thank you. Any comments? Last, under the consent agenda, we have a citation of achievement. Whereas the Warren County Commissioners take great pleasure in recognizing Cadet Staff Sergeant Jace O. Messenger, a member of the Civil Air Patrol, Warren County Composite Squadron 505, who is worthy recipient of the Wright Brothers Award. Whereas the Civil Air Patrol Cadet Program is designed to inspire young men and women to become leaders and good citizens so that they may serve themselves and all of society to the fullest extent of their capabilities. Whereas through studies and activities, Cadet Staff Sergeant Messenger has worked his way through a series of phases and achievements, each of which encompasses special activities, physical fitness, leadership, aerospace education, and moral leadership training. And whereas the Wright Brothers Award is earned by cadets in the Civil Air Patrol after completing the first 3 achievements of the cadet program and passing a challenging examination testing a cadet's leadership, knowledge, and proficiency in drill and ceremonies. The first milestone of the program, the award in that first milestone, the award recognizes excellence in the area of leadership, aerospace, fitness, and character. A cadet is promoted to the grade of Cadet Staff Sergeant once he has earned the Wright Brothers Award. The son of Jason and Kim Messenger, Cadet Staff Sergeant Messenger truly deserves praise and recognition for the exceptional commitment and dedication which he has consistently displayed in earning the prestigious award. Therefore, be it resolved that the Warren County Commissioners congratulate Cadet Staff Sergeant Jace O. Messenger on the great honor which has been bestowed upon him. As a reminder, if anyone has other citations of excellence or proclamations that they want to have on the agenda, please feel free to contact the Chief Clerk, and we will look into it. With that, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. There's no old business on the agenda. As I stated earlier, we'll move the agreement from the Register and Recorder's Office up to the front of the line. So with that, I'd ask Stephanie to present what the agreement is that you're requesting.
It's a 5-year agreement for our computer system. Not really sure what else. It's where all of our files are scanned into so people can have access to it, and including online for U.S. land records.
Okay.
This is an extension of the contract that you currently have with them, right?
No, this is a brand new one.
This is a brand new company that you're working
It's a
with, so all
renewal.
the...
No, I mean, it's the same company, it's just a renewal agreement.
Yeah, it's a renewal agreement. You've worked with them before, and part of this is going to be new files are going to be scanned, right?
What do you mean by new files?
Well, like, there's stuff that hasn't been scanned that's still in paper form, like old records.
This isn't part of that. This
Okay.
is just
I was just curious.
daily, just the daily,
The daily upkeep of that
Right.
database.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Solicitor's reviewed.
I have reviewed it. There were, I just had a question or two. There was a section where they said that you got to choose one of two options. It's just section 12 on data backup. Did they go over data backup with you?
What page is it?
3.
Okay.
I guess it didn't, the agreement doesn't require that you check a mark on the contract as to what option is selected. I was just wondering if they, did they clarify whether they were gonna do the backup or whether we were responsible to do the backup?
Best of my knowledge, they do and we do,
Okay,
our IT department.
okay.
So 2 of 2. Not one of
Bad
Sounds
idea.
probable.
There you go.
Okay, let me just,
Right, any questions for Stephanie?
No, so this is a new 5-year term, it looks like.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And it seems as though there's a change. Instead of a cost per document scan, there's now a fixed fee monthly.
Correct.
So in the event that our document volume goes up, we won't see an increase compared to what
Correct.
we expected.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the agreement between Warren County and Avenu for information technology products and services?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion properly made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we'll jump back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the standard modification of grant agreement with the USDA Forest Service. This is for the Sheriff's Office to provide coverage on ANF property. It's a standard agreement, which originally we had heard that it went up $5,000, but from what I understand, it's just a change in the funding stream, not actually an increase, unfortunately, but I suppose unsurprisingly. So this is basically the same thing that we approved last year. Do I hear a motion to approve the grant agreement?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Made and seconded. No one from the Sheriff's Office is here to comment, so any questions for me? Deliberation. All those in favor of the agreement, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, resolution 3,178, authorizing revision to Warren County's fiscal year 2018 CDBG funding. And for that, I will ask Lori Dunlap to
Thank
present.
you very much. Basically moving money around, spending old money first. We had some projects that came in way under budget, projects completed with older money, always trying to keep on track. And we have 3 years to spend the CDBG money, so we're constantly moving money around to spend the oldest first. We have a total of $164,078.50 available from our fiscal year 18 contract to move into other projects. We anticipated this, it's not like a surprise. And when we funded projects, knew we had this to spend. There's a water line extension project in Columbus Township that we had allocated X amount of dollars to, and about $7,300 from the fiscal year 18 is going to go into that. Also, fiscal year 2020 funds were allocated. And then the reconstruction of Center Street in Bear Lake was approved for fiscal year 19 funds. And we're going to move $156,780 of 18 funds into that project, which leaves 19 money that's going to be moved on to something else. And it's pretty much already planned about it. So just, are there any questions about moving this money around? It's kind of a formality. I'll just have to publicly decide to do it and let the public know we're doing it.
That's good.
Any questions?
If there's no questions, I'll ask for a motion to approve resolution 3,178.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 3178.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. For the motion, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye. It's just good to see that things are coming in under budget.
You know,
Except for this year's.
yeah, I mean, this was an interesting thing. The two projects in Clarendon Borough, Miley Avenue and Ellison Street, we bid out under my objection, probably in late March, which was too late to do it, but they were insistent we do it. And the bids were really high because the contractors all had their projects set up, and the bids came in way over what we had. So we're like, okay, we'll bid it out next year. Well, then it came in almost $100,000 less than it had the year before. And so we were able to do it and save a lot of money too. So that's what happened.
The impact of weather on projects too.
Well, and timing, because
Yep.
the contractors all get their schedules, you know, early in the year. And if they bid on it late in the year and they're gonna have to squeeze it in, you're gonna pay for it.
What was the bid that, you're thinking of the one that we just did that came?
Columbus Township water line.
And it was like
Yeah, that came in about $12,000 short, and this, $7,300 from this was already planned for that project. They're scrambling for that extra $12,000. I need to award the contractor or not.
We don't have it at this point.
No, we don't. They're hoping we use the American Rescue money, which
Maybe
is
they can
really.
use their American Rescue money.
Yes, they're American
Okay.
Rescue. Yeah, not yours. Theirs, which they're gonna get a good chunk of change, but it's so vague as to when they'll get it and how they'll get it,
Who
and
knows?
I don't know that the project can wait that long, so it may wait until next year also.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Next would be the agreement with AMC Contracting for the lawn care, correct?
Next is the talk.
Oh, did I miss talk? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we just.
Commissioner Eggleston, since you have a background on that, would you please present the talk
Yeah.
allocation?
Yeah, so, the allocation from the county in this case is being proposed to be increased $500, due to a cut apparently from, my understanding is this is Sheffield Township, I may be wrong about that, but that they had cut theirs $500, so the county is, in this case, stepping in order to address that. So the amount that the county would fund for 20, let's see, part of it, is it 21? Oh yeah, 21-22 would be $43,029 instead of, which is, like as I said, is a $500 increase.
Okay. And this is very close to budgeted.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is another thing where we'd end up pulling from the contingency in order to address it.
I guess I would just make the statement that, you know, I understand that the municipalities are changing what they're contributing, and I think that they're voting their value of their dollars, and I don't know necessarily that over time, and I know $500 isn't a lot of money, that over time we should be continuing to increase the contribution to make up for the lack of the townships and municipalities that are not interested as much. So although I can support the $500 increase, I would say that I think we really need to not be the step between what municipalities and cities and townships want and what the local match that we require is.
I said as much on Monday and would repeat that, but I'll support this today with the understanding that Commissioner Eggleston had said he would go talk to the board about it.
And I think Lisa does have a good point, as she made in a work session on Monday, that the conversation between each one of these and the TAWC Association should be had, because I think that's where there's some decision about the value of what they're getting, and maybe that is weighing in as well on what gets contributed.
Very good. Well, with that, is there a motion to make the allocation?
All that said, I'll make the motion to allocate the local match plus an additional $10,800, making up the items that municipalities and city has chosen not to support.
Ooh,
So that would be 56,129,
43.
43,29, oh, there it is, yeah, $43,029.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Motion carries. Next is the AMC Contracting and Consulting. This is for lawn care. Started this, what, 1 or 2 years ago?
Just last year.
Just last year. Significant increase?
No.
No increase. Okay. I was fairly pleased with the work product last year. Complaints? So this would be for up to 28 mows, $70 an event. Also with options for spring and fall cleanup at $35 per hour per employee, which includes cleanup as well as mulching. Any questions? Hearing none, can I hear a motion to approve the lawn care proposal?
I'll make the motion to agree to approve the AMC Contracting lawn service renewal.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have some quotes provided to us by IT in order to update the Laserfish equipment and software. I would say that this is not complete. We know that there needs to be an addition, this agreement for purchase would not be directly with Laserfish. This is for the equipment that it runs on. We do believe that all of this would be eligible. I know it would be eligible under the CARES Act, and our assumption is that the new money that's coming from the American Rescue Fund would not be more restrictive than the CARES Act. So I'm fairly comfortable in saying, first of all, we need this anyway. Second of all, it should be able to be eligible because it is conducive to remote work. We have a couple bids in front of us. But again, we will need to do something with Laserfish themselves in the coming weeks. But Bill wanted to get a jump start on getting some of the equipment to actually run it before actually engaging with Laserfish themselves. So I'm seeing a grand total here of $15,021.25 with Dell, and then SHI is $969.28. Do your motion to approve these purchases?
I'll make the motion to approve these purchases utilizing the CARES funding and/or the American Rescue funding when, assuming it's not more restrictive than the CARES funding.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion?
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, this is so that we go paperless, so we're more paperless than we are now. You get more documents online, get away from paper, that kind of thing. So there's many reasons to do it.
It was in the capital plan. It's not necessarily something we were going to do this year, but
Yeah, the hope is
Needs
to
to be done.
eventually have people be able to fill out forms online, do most of their transactions digitally. All of those things are good things. Especially when you look at the cost of recycling, paper shredding, and everything else over the long term.
As well as digitized signatories, if I recall correctly.
all right, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion to approve the purchases as listed, please state aye.
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 Motion carries. Next is the Youth Baseball Softball Association agreement. For that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Hargis.
Well, I'm very happy to have a couple representatives here today from the Youth Baseball Organization, which I think, can we technically call it Little League now? I mean, technically speaking, yeah. So, so I'm trying to even think about when we first started meeting to discuss this, it feels like it was 100 years ago. Certainly pre-COVID, so that means it was like 50 years ago. To start talking about trying to kind of formalize the situation between the Little League and the county. Because it's kind of been for years this, I don't know, it's kind of like you don't call me, I don't call you, and as long as everybody's fine with that. And I remember when I went to the first Little League board meeting, and it just went dead silent. And everybody's like, why are you here? You know, and I think everybody was concerned that I was gonna show up and say, you know, well, pack your stuff, folks, you know, we're, you know, and it's since then, the goal has always been to have a very good conversation about the space up there, to build a relationship, and hopefully down the line, develop it even further. The group that works up there has done a marvelous job, in my opinion, taking a blank canvas and turning it into something that's meaningful for the folks that utilize it. We appreciate that. And so the goal with the lease agreement is to finally have an official agreement in place where both entities can work together and develop the space, and the folks in Little League feel comfortable that their investment that they make in the space is going to pay off for them long term, and not be kind of, you know, they don't have to live under the concern that at some point something negative is going to happen. So the agreement is for 10 years. It's $1 a year. There are very limited restrictions. Most of what's in it has to do with just notifying the county of any kind of major changes to anything that they do up there. My hope is that once this, if this is approved on both sides, that we can then transition to, you know, looking for grant funds, figuring out ways to fund new projects up there, develop the space, maybe at some point address the water situation, you know, a few other things. So that's basically it. Would the folks at the Little League care to say something? Would you guys like to say something?
Oh, sure. No, certainly we appreciate your time working on this agreement, and you know, kind of from our standpoint, we're excited to move forward and hopefully get this agreement finalized. I'm sure, as you're well aware, it's important to us to make sure that, you know, we know that they're going to stay ball fields and we have the ability to improve them. We are going to be moving forward into some overall improvements of all our fields. You'll see some of that this year. One of the main questions we always get from potential donors is, what's the agreement with the property owner? Until we can kind of get that in place, it sort of hinders us a little bit from moving forward with improvements in that location, whereas we're moving forward in other locations. And I know we've been working on this for a couple years now. I don't know if there's any issues in the, I think one of the concerns might have been a potentially of a gate. I know that's one of the things that our board is certainly willing to go without. The way I look at it, and I think many of the other board members, it would actually probably be easier for us. I'm sure I can speak for other members. I don't want to be the one going up and worrying about locking, unlocking, things like that. So if that's kind of a hang up, we'd be more than happy to have that removed.
Yeah, Steve Smythe, I'm the treasurer of the Warren County Little League Board. I believe that the hang-up there was damage to the fields, people sneaking in there or just going in there and joy riding the fields or four-wheelers, whatever. So I think that's kind of the genesis of that gate. I know some other people that I'd heard complaints that, well, you're just going to try to keep the public out. Obviously not. And we know that the commissioners would never toss the Little League out. So the lease agreement was never really in doubt. I get that. But having a 10-year structure on that lease, and we have no problems with the other provisions from the lease, I think it just gives us some safety, saying, okay, we can be good stewards of this money by putting it back in the field. So I think it's a very a win-win situation.
Good, thank you.
And I think part of the discussion surrounding the gate was, you know, if that indeed comes to fruition and there's a real need for it, then that would be a separate conversation that could be had.
That's fair.
Any other comments, questions? Then I would ask for a motion to approve the lease agreement.
I will make the motion to approve the lease agreement.
I'll second.
Hallelujah. It's been a long time.
Thank you all.
Any other deliberation? Solicitor?
No, the final draft after the work session does not include the gate, so, just so you're aware.
Yep.
All right, the motion before us is to approve the lease agreement with the, I believe, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, now there is a list of contracts to approve for Children and Youth Services. Strap yourselves in. 311 Liberty Law in Warren for CYS Solicitor. Acadia Healthcare Company based in Lewisburg for institutional sex offenders and ATOD treatment. Allen M. Com here in Warren for guardian ad litem. Avenu International Upgrades for Wormleysburg for CWIS. Avenu International, same city, for the CAPS application. The Bayer Foundation of Pennsylvania in Pittsburgh for private foster care homes. Barbara Litton in Tionesta, who is the backup CYS solicitor. Bethesda Children's Home in Meadville for institutional residential care. Children's Center for Treatment and Education in Bradford for community-based in-home therapy. Cornell Abraxas in Pittsburgh for international residential care. Cynthia Klanowski here in Warren as guardian ad litem. Dr. Peter Van Korf in Erie for psychological and bonding assessments. Erie County Office of Children and Youth in Erie for secure detention. Shore Junior Republican of Pennsylvania based in Grove City for residential care. Harbor Creek Youth Services in Harbor Creek for institutional residential care. Keystone Adolescent Center in Greenville for institutional residential care. Pathways Adolescent Center in Oil City for community-based placement. Perseus House in Erie for institutional residential care. Preventative Aftercare based in Grove City for community-based in-home services. Project Point of Light in Shippenville for psychiatric diagnostic interview examinations. Redwood Toxicology Laboratory in Santa Rosa, California for urine 12 panel screens. Swanson, Avenu, and Sharp here in Warren for guardian ad litem, and the Warren County Children's Advocacy Center here in Warren for children interviews. Any questions? Then could I have a motion to approve all of those CYS agreements?
I'll make the motion to approve the listed, described CMY contracted providers for the 21-22 year.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Have fun signing all those contracts. Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Eccleston?
I don't believe I have any at this time.
Commissioner Durbin?
I'm good. It's all
For
good.
myself, let's see, Human Services.
This is technically Lisa's first meeting, right?
It
It's
is.
Lisa's first meeting.
So I guess I would say congratulations to Lisa, and I don't know that any of us could be any happier than we are with how everything turned out. To have you here.
Ditto that. Conservation District, nothing really to note. Northwest Regional Planning, we are going to have a meeting with them. I think Jill's going to reach out to Pam to get it scheduled for probably next week for CHIRP, but let's also just talk about their broadband initiatives and that sort of thing all at once. Nothing for EMS Council with the exception that we did sign that LOI with DCED, correct? And so we are part of the regional Erie, Crawford, Warren examination of the EMS system. Nothing on LAPC, Penn State Ag, we meet tonight, so I'll have more of an update tonight. And the COG, we were all there, so nothing to update everybody on that. Crime Stoppers didn't meet this morning. That's it. So, unless there is anything else to bring before the public, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Aye.
Aye.
12:42.